Well, hey there, peepers. It's me again, Margaret. How y'all doing? Oh, I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying this beautiful sunlight. Oh, it's amazing. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. I got good news today. I've just been blessed this morning. I got to sit and talk with Almighty Elohim, and just to feel His presence was amazing. And I do every morning. I talk to Him, but this morning it was somewhat different. This morning it was amazing. It was like I was in the presence of Elohim, and I couldn't stop crying. I was so happy, so happy. Oh, and so I was sitting here and I was thinking about my name and stuff, because He kept saying who I was. And my name is Letitia Ann McIntyre Brown. And you know, Letitia means joy. Ann means favor of God. And McIntyre means son of the carpenter. And brown is earth. It is, monks wore brown as a symbol of the connection between the earth and God. That's God's connection. So it's like I'm a connection of the earth, for God to be able to connect to the earth. And I am His joy, His favor, and His daughter. Jesus was a carpenter. He was a carpenter's son here on earth. And Jesus was the Word of God in flesh. And that just made me so joyous to know what my name means. And if you take all the initials, just the first letter of every name, it says Lamb. Lamb. And I was just crying, and I was just crying. What a glorious, glorious, wonderful find, that He told me that. But anyway, put that aside. We were sitting here talking, and a voice come in, and it was almost like a fear-mongering in a way, and it said, all the earth is about to endure devastation. And something came over me, and I said, I can't help that. That's not something that I can take care of or I can do. So each person, God says, has made their own path. They made their own choices. And in those choices, they have created their own path. And in the choices of their parents or their loved ones or their husbands or their spouse, their wives, they have made choices for one another. And God gives us choice, He says. And it's their choices that create the path in which they follow. It is those choices that we make mentally as to what our life is like. And He says He can't change that. He gives us choice as a gift. And our choices determine what comes at us. Whether we make ourselves vulnerable to the world and the shadows of this world, or whether we have a shield of God around us. Because the world will throw all kinds of things at you to shake your spirit, to shake your belief, your faith. So he says, when you call on him, he's there. But he cannot change your choices. He can try to direct you. He can give you positive direction to try and get you, to move your choice. But initially, it's your choice that creates the challenges in your life. And so when this world is going to go through some changes, here a while back I did a video, and I was watching it last night, about the clock. He said the clock has moved forward 1 minute. And I didn't know that the other day I seen a thing come across the TV. Well, not TV, it was on the phone in a video, and it was a news thing, and it said the doomsday clock, and I'm going, there's a clock? and it reminded me, and so I thought, and they said that clock is 100 seconds before midnight. And it's been that way since 2019 or 2019, I think it was. And so it didn't move in 2020, and I thought, my goodness, the devastation that happened. So, and I thought, well, surely it's moved. But then I remembered he told me about a clock. So they haven't moved that clock, but God has moved the clock of time 1 minute. And he said we're about to step through a threshold. And I was like, oh my goodness. So there's a lot of falseness out there. And God is telling us by all the signs that's happening, whether it's the virus, all the rumors of wars, because the virus is, like plagues, and on top of that virus is another virus. They're saying the Delta virus is a variant of the first virus, and it's worse than the first one. Then there's some kind of fungus that's going with it, and black mold, and I'm thinking, oh my God. So there's plagues on top of plagues coming with this virus thing. And then I found out yesterday that a lot of research has been done since all this stuff has happened. And they found that people who have already had it, like me, the virus, we're good, that we don't need to have that shot. That shot should be used on people who want it, because we're already immune to it. And they found that we were better immune than the ones who had the shots, which is kind of cool. I found that out because they did some kind of survey over 52,000 people or something in a hospital. All of them were employees who volunteered, and some of them had the virus and some of them didn't have the virus. And some of them took the shot and some of them didn't take the shot. And the ones who had the virus and didn't take the shot, they still had zero, they never caught it again. So even though they were like hands-on, one-on-one with all these patients who had it, they never caught the virus again. But the other ones still had risks and still had a percentage. And I thought, well, that was good that they did that. So now we understand. And so they said, instead of it being a vaccination passport, it needs to be an immunization passport, because those of us like me are immune to the COVID-19. Now, that's not to say that we are not immune. We may not be immune to the Delta one, the variant that's coming. But they're saying also that even those who take the vaccination are only 88% safe with the Delta. So, and that's only if you take both shots. So they're learning, they're learning. And in the process, we will learn. And it's the choices that we make during this horrible time of crisis as to the path that we go down. So there's more to come, God says, because we have stepped through the door or the portal that we're going into a new earth and a new heaven. And our decisions will decide whether we make it through to the next minute of the clock of time. That is amazing. I didn't know, there was a doomsday clock that they had. And I was just going by what God had told me. And so it was interesting to know that human beings have what they call a doomsday clock. And midnight means disaster, destruction, that human beings will basically kill themselves or just whatever. And that it's 100 seconds to midnight. But it hasn't moved in a year and a half. So that's interesting. But sitting here talking to God and Him talking about our choices is what's, maneuvering us through this passage of time. And our choices is what creates our challenges. And He says, if you move closer to Him and you start talking to Him and you start hearing Him, He will guide you through there and help you make those choices. Remember to make choices based on positive, not fear, on positive. Believe that God can do what He says He can do. Don't rush to do what man says to do. Rush to do what God says to do. And if God says, then do it. But don't do anything out of fear. Don't do anything out of jealousy. Don't do anything out of anxiety or depression. Don't do anything out of guilt. Those are all negative words. They're not positive. Do things out of joy. Do things out of kindness. And do things out of mercy. Not mercy as in guilt, but mercy as in love of mercy. Because the shadows of this world can try to manipulate things to make them look good. But the seed of it, the root of it, is negative. It's kind of like, for instance, let's say someone has lost their job. That's sad. And they need help. Okay. If you are helping them because you feel sad because, well, you have a lot and they have nothing, that's a guilt trip. But if you're helping them because you see that they are suffering and you want to help, then help them. But if you help them and you see that they are taking advantage of you and everyone else and not trying, then it is in vain. You yourself are doing it of kindness, but they are utilizing. So that's when you would draw back and go, no, I can't help you no more. Because you're not helping yourself. You're not trying. You're just taking and using everybody else as a crutch. So that's how you sometimes can't see the seed until it grows, the wheat and the tares. It's because you're doing something nice and kind for somebody. But then when you actually step back and see what they are doing, are they using the seeds that you're giving them to grow and do better for themselves, to help themselves? Or are they using your seed to grow and do better for themselves and use other people too to make themselves better and not trying to work for themselves? They're using your work, your talents, and they're just sitting back giving in the proceeds. Kind of like, and I hate to say it like this, kind of like how the government just sends out money to everybody. Nobody wants to work because why should they? The government is paying them money, more money than what they're getting on a normal job. So that is using the government or using a good seed, what was meant to be a good seed, and not doing nothing with it. Not trying to better yourself, but you're going on vacation with it, or you're just squirreling it away on stuff you don't need instead of paying your bills what it was meant for, or saving it in the bank account for a hard time. So I hope you can understand that. You've got to be able to differentiate the seeds and see the person. And people make bad choices. We all do, myself included. I am not perfect. None of us are. We're human. And we all need help. But it's what we do with that help that gives us the challenges in our life. Do we use that help to step up on that ladder, to step up? Or do we stay on that one level and allow everyone else to keep us there? Or do we actually try? What are we teaching our children if we don't try? We're teaching them to be, smothered, basically, to me, because you're not teaching them to climb up and get out of the cesspool. You're teaching them that staying in the cesspool and depending on others is what you do. But that's not true. You have to work for what you want. Work for what you get. And when people help you, be grateful. Don't take advantage of them. It's written that you're supposed to work for the things you get in life. Otherwise, you are a fig tree that has no fruit. And fig trees and any other tree that does not have fruit, you know what happens to them? Even in today's world, if you plant an apple tree or a pear tree or a fig tree or any tree and it never puts forth fruit, it gets cut down and deleted, and one gets replanted in its place. So don't be the unfruitful tree. Accept what people give you with kindness and generosity and humbleism, if that's even a word. And step up that ladder yourself and quit using other people as a crutch. Because it's what you do from this point when we walk through that door to the next time that clock turns to a minute that is going to guide you through. Do you make it through, or do you get cut down like a tree that gives no fruit? Well, I hope that made sense to somebody, because we can't we can only do for ourselves. We can only make ourselves better. We can only make ourselves happy with God. Without God, there is no happiness. There is no joy. But anyway, I thought I'd come on here, tell you what me and God was talking about and how he told me those same exact things that I just told you. So, be good, have a blessed day, and remember, God Almighty loves you more than anything unconditionally, and I love you. So, remember what I said. He's listening. You listen. Talk to him.